Kyle, in your impression, how deep is this draft? How good is this draft?
It's a good draft. We've been saying that for the last year, that generally the draft is judged on the depth of offensive linemen, and there's a good group this year. There's 4, 5, 6 offensive linemen that are projected to go pretty high, and that sort of starts off the draft, and then positionally across the board, everyone's going to find 2 or 3 guys, I think, at each position that they like, that they think can help their team. So I think relative to years past, this is a deep draft, a good draft.
Ken Austin this morning already said his phone's ringing off the hook. People are trying to trade up to take his number 8 spot. Are you one of those teams?
Yeah, there's talks with there's a lot of talk right now, and there's a big difference between talking and actually doing some deals. So I think everybody gets antsy right now, and it's about as much trying to gather information for your own behalf. So you put scenarios out there and see what information you can gather to see. It's now 36 hours before the draft or whatever it is that everything's going to rev up, and everyone's going to try to get information and try to figure out exactly how their draft board's going to look and try to use all the resources that they can. And one of those is putting trade offers out to other teams, whether they're realistic or not. As I said, there's a big difference between making a trade offer and actually making a trade. So there's lots of offers and talk right now, but nothing real serious.
I know offensive linemen are key, but what are your impressions of Nick Nevsky and any possibilities there?
My impressions of Nick are what I've been saying all along. He's a great football player. We had him in here for a meeting. He's a sharp kid, works hard, phenomenal athlete, and nothing's changed on our thoughts on Nick. That he's going to be a high draft pick somewhere, and I think he's going to have a successful CFL career.
Kyle, you had Alex Mateus in here recently. What does that say about your interest in him?
Yeah, I mean, Alex Mateus is the offensive, the lineman from University of Connecticut. He didn't do any of the eval camp stuff. He was focused on his pro day and his NFL prospects, so we really didn't get a look at him other than on film, and we try to get eyes on everybody. So Alex came in, we put him through a workout, put him on film, and he was, he's in that, where I mentioned earlier, the depth. He's one of those 5, 6 offensive linemen that are in the mix, and when we worked him out, he certainly went right in there with the other guys. The other one is Carl Lavoie, same guy, who we didn't see in person. We went up to Montreal and worked him out. So those 2 names might not be on everyone's radar as much because they weren't at the evaluation camp, but those are 2 real good football players that are right in the mix with the rest of those top offensive linemen for sure.
Did you get answers from all the Canadian guys that were trying out in NFL minicamps? Has that all been resolved in your mind?
As of now, none of the Canadians that were in minicamp received contract offers, to my understanding. So that's as of this moment.
What about Covington and Boyko, with them, one guy being drafted and one getting a contract and a signing bonus? How does that affect their stock?
Well, in our draft, it lowers the stock. I mean, if you were just look at overall talent, and that's the interesting thing as we discuss the draft, it's who's the best football player, but then that's not always the case of the highest draft pick without question. So, Christian Covington's a football player. He's a damn good football player. In our board, he's the best football player in the draft, and that's why he got drafted in the NFL. So when are you, or if you are ever going to see him, is the question. And same with Boyko, that outstanding offensive lineman, played tackle. I think he's got a chance to be a tackle up here. But again, are you ever going to see him? And that's part of the risk. So how does it affect their stock? Well, you would think that it's going to lessen their stock in our draft because of the uncertainty of when or if you're ever going to see them.